The sun was low over the rusty sky of Zorn 5, a faraway trading planet where different species came to buy and sell all kinds of things, machines, tools, pets, food, even strange living creatures. The air was dry, full of dust and heat, and the market buzzed with loud voices, beeping machines, and the strong smell of alien spices. Rafi, a human scavenger with short black hair and a dirty brown jacket, walked slowly through the busy bazaar. He didn't have much money, just a few credits in his pocket. He wasn't looking for anything special. Maybe an old engine part or some scrap metal for his workshop. But then something strange caught his eye. A small wooden platform stood in the center of the marketplace. On it, several cages and boxes were placed. One box had something odd inside: a tall figure, tied up, wearing a loose brown cloak, and a sack over their head. The figure wasn't moving, but its shape was clear. It was humanoid, with smooth curves and blue skin showing under torn sleeves. An old alien merchant stood next to the platform. His name was Grak, a fat, short creature with green scales and a crooked smile. He raised his hand and shouted, "Rare find. Mystery being. Just 3 credits. Anyone? Only 3 credits." The crowd laughed. No one was interested. Some thought it was a trap. Others believed it was just a broken droid or a useless servant creature. Rafi looked again at the strange figure with the sack. Something inside him said this wasn't a joke. He didn't know why, but he stepped forward. "I'll take it," he said quietly. Grak's eyes widened. 3 credits, human. "Are you sure?" Rafi nodded. He handed over the credits. It was almost all he had. Grak laughed. "Very well. She's yours now." The crowd slowly moved on. Losing interest, Rafi walked up to the figure. She didn't move. Carefully, he untied the ropes. The figure stood weakly. She was taller than him, her body light but graceful. The sack on her head was old and dirty, and she made no sound. "Come on," Rafi said. "Let's get out of here." He led her through the dusty streets, back to his workshop on the edge of the city. The shop was small, full of broken machines, wires, and tools. A half-fixed robot dog barked once and went back to sleep. Rafi sat the girl down on a soft chair. She still didn't speak. He slowly reached up and pulled off the sack from her head. He stepped back in shock. The girl was beautiful, but not in a human way. Her skin was smooth and glowing faintly blue. Her eyes were golden, like twin suns. Her hair floated gently around her head as if touched by wind, even though the room was still. Glowing lines ran across her face and arms like circuits or veins of light. She looked around the room slowly, as if waking from a long sleep. Rafi cleared his throat. "Can you understand me?" She didn't answer, but her golden eyes met his. There was no fear in them, only silence, and something else, something old. Rafi stood and brought her a bottle of clean water and a piece of fruit. She looked at them, then at him, but didn't touch either. "Do you have a name?" he asked. Still no reply. He sighed and sat down across from her. His mind was racing. Who was she? Why was she sold so cheaply? Was she sick or dangerous? As night fell over Zorn 5, Rafi gave her a blanket and made a place for her to rest. He didn't lock the door. Something told him she wouldn't run. That night, Rafi dreamed of stars. He floated through space, pulled by light and music. He saw a great blue world burning, giant ships fleeing, and a girl with golden eyes standing on a mountain of glass. She looked at him and whispered something he couldn't understand. He woke with a gasp. The girl was standing over him, watching him sleep. He sat up quickly. "Hey, are you okay?" She didn't move for a second, then slowly nodded. Finally, her voice came soft and strange, like a song. "Why did you take me?" Rafi blinked. I don't know. You were only 3 credits. It didn't feel right to leave you there." She looked down at her hands. The glowing lines on her skin pulsed slowly. "They were afraid." "Of you?" Rafi asked. She nodded. Rafi didn't know what to say. He was just a junk dealer. He didn't understand magic or alien powers or ancient species. But he knew one thing: this girl was important. What's your name? He asked again. She looked at him. Nari. Rafi nodded slowly. Okay, Nari. I'm Rafi. You're safe here. She didn't smile, but her eyes softened just a little. Outside, the night winds blew across Zorn 5. The stars were bright, and somewhere in the dark sky, something far away began to move. Something that had been searching. Something that had finally noticed she was awake. The next morning on Zorn 5 was dry and quiet. A yellow sun rose slowly behind the metal hills. Dust floated in the air like powder, and the sounds of the city had not yet filled the streets. Inside his small workshop, Rafi sat at a table, staring at the glowing alien girl sitting across from him. Her name was Nari, and she was not like anyone he had ever seen. She was calm now, watching the machines and strange human tools around her. Her golden eyes were clear, full of quiet power. Blue lines still glowed on her arms and neck, moving gently like flowing energy. Rafi scratched his head. He was used to fixing broken drones and old engines, not talking to mysterious space girls. Still, something about Nari made him feel responsible. He didn't buy her as a joke. Something had pulled him to her at that auction. He didn't understand it yet, but he wanted to. You're not from around here, he said, offering her a plate of warm food. She looked at the plate, then picked up a soft piece of bread and took a small bite. Her movements were slow, like someone learning again how to live. I don't remember this place, she said quietly. You mean Zorn 5? She nodded. Everything feels strange, distant. I remember stars, bright lights, voices screaming. Then silence. Rafi leaned forward. Who tied you up? Who put that sack on your head? Nari closed her eyes. Her hands trembled a little. The glowing lines flickered. I was taken, she said slowly. A long time ago. Or maybe just yesterday. I don't know time anymore. Rafi frowned. You were captured. She opened her eyes again. Yes, before that, I was hidden. My people told me to stay asleep, to keep something safe. Rafi raised an eyebrow. What were you keeping safe? She didn't answer. Instead, the lights in the room flickered for a moment. The robot dog near the door buzzed, stood up, and then sat back down. Rafi looked around, nervous. Are you doing that? Nari shook her head. Not on purpose. Rafi stood up and paced the room. Okay? This is bigger than I thought. You're not just some unlucky alien. You're special. Nari looked at him. Special things are usually hunted. He stopped walking. Do you think someone is looking for you? Yes, she said softly. I feel them, far away. But getting closer. Rafi took a deep breath. He needed help. He couldn't protect her alone. Not if others were chasing her. There was only one person he could trust with something this strange. Minna. He said Nari. Tilted her head. Who's Minna? A friend, Rafi replied. She used to build ships for the big space colonies. She knows about alien tech. She might know what's going on with you. Nari nodded slowly. If you trust her, I do, Rafi said. He handed Nari a gray cloak and told her to keep her face covered. The markets were busy in the morning, and too many eyes might notice her glowing skin. She pulled the hood over her head, and they stepped out into the dusty streets. As they walked through the narrow alleys, Rafi kept looking over his shoulder. Something didn't feel right. A tall figure stood near a fruit stall, watching them. A tiny drone buzzed past, then circled back before flying off. They reached an old workshop built into the side of a hill. The door was rusty, with a faded sign that read Mina's repairs. Rafi knocked twice, then kicked the side panel. A hidden scanner beeped, and the door opened. Inside, a woman with dark brown skin, oil stains on her hands, and sharp eyes stood holding a wrench. Rafi, she said. You never visit unless it's trouble. He smiled. You know me. Her eyes moved to Nari. And who's this? Her name is Nari, Rafi said. I found her at the market. She was being sold, like junk. But she's not junk. She's something else. Minna looked closer. She walked around Nari, scanning her with a small handheld device. The device beeped and sparked, then shut off. What in the galaxy? Minna whispered. What is it? Rafi asked. She's not just alien. She's from a race I thought was extinct. Nari looked up. You know my kind. Minna nodded slowly. The Zerl, a peaceful race with the power to control energy and space. The Vulcan Empire feared them and wiped them out, or so we thought. Nari looked down at her hands. My people hid me. I was their last hope. Minna stepped back. Shocked, the Zerl had something called a star seed, a living source of power. Some say it could wake planets or destroy them. Nari nodded. It is inside me. But it is locked. I don't know how to use it. Rafi felt a chill run down his spine. That's why they were afraid of you. That's why you were tied up, sold for cheap because someone wanted you to disappear. Minna looked serious. If the Vulcan Empire finds out she's alive, they will come, fast, and they won't stop. Suddenly, the lights flickered again. A small screen near the door lit up. A message flashed and read, Zorn 5 docks locked. Vulcan patrol ship detected. Nari stood still, her eyes glowing. They're here. Rafi looked at Minna. What do we do? Minna grabbed a toolkit and threw a cloak over her shoulder. We hide. Then we run. If she's what I think she is, she doesn't belong on a trash world like this. She belongs somewhere safe. Nari's voice was calm, but strong. There is no safe place anymore. Outside, the wind howled across the sand, but deeper in the city, something darker was moving shadows, with sharp eyes, looking for a girl with glowing skin, and they were getting closer. Ravi sat on a soft white bed inside the Orn temple. He held his head with both hands. The armor on his chest was still there, glowing softly like fire under glass. It felt like part of him now. It didn't hurt, but it was heavy and full of secrets. Nira stood nearby, her arms crossed, eyes full of worry. You haven't said anything since you woke up. Are you all right? Ravi looked up slowly. I saw something. She walked closer. What did you see? He took a deep breath. I was not in this world. It was dark. I was standing in a black desert. No sound, no sky, just a huge creature waiting for me, like a shadow made of smoke and fire. Nira's face turned serious. That was the trial. Ravi blinked. You know about it, she nodded. The trial of the first flame. It's a test from the armor. My great-grandmother once said only those with strong hearts would see it. I didn't even fight it. With a weapon, Ravi said. I ran. I tricked it. I hid in the rocks until it gave up. Nira smiled a little. Then you passed. But I didn't fight like a warrior, Ravi replied. Confused, you didn't need to. It doesn't test your body. It tests your spirit. Before Ravi could speak again, the door opened. Two elders walked in with long robes and glowing staffs. One was the same old Orn from before, named Elder Toruk. Come with us, he said. Ravi stood up. Nira followed, walking beside him. They went through long crystal halls, past silent statues, and entered a chamber with a wide round table in the center. More elders were sitting there, all with serious faces. This is the Hall of Memories, Toruk said. This place holds all records of our past, and now you are part of it. Ravi swallowed nervously. Another elder, with silver markings on her forehead, leaned forward. You have awakened armor that has slept for hundreds of years. That armor once belonged to Queen Amara, the last flame of the First War. Ravi nodded slowly. I saw her in my dreams. The elders whispered among themselves. Toruk raised his hand. We believe the armor chose you because of your spirit, but there may be more. The armor responds to blood. It remembers the old bond. What bond? Ravi asked. The bond between humans and Orn, Toruk said. Long ago, before the wars, we fought side by side. Our greatest warriors came from both worlds. Ravi's eyes widened. So, my ancestors fought with yours? Yes, another elder said. But history was lost. Now, the armor remembers what we forgot. Nira stepped forward. What does this mean for Ravi? Toruk's voice turned quiet. It means he may be the last living key to something powerful, something dangerous. Suddenly, the floor shook. A low rumble echoed through the walls. A young guard ran into the hall. Elders? A message just arrived from the outer moons. A Drakari ship has been seen near Arena's edge. The room fell silent. Turk stood slowly. Then it begins again. Ravi looked confused. Who are the Drakari? Nira answered, her voice cold. They are the ones who destroyed the first flame. Turk nodded. The Drakari are ancient enemies. They feared the power of the armor. They hunted down all who wore it. Queen Amara fought them until the end, but even she could not stop them alone. Ravi felt the armor grow warm again. The symbols glowed brighter. Nira looked at him. They're coming for you. But I don't know how to fight, Ravi said. I'm just a technician. I fix wires. I clean panels. I don't know war. Turek stepped forward and touched the armor gently. The armor will teach you, but only if you trust it. Ravi looked down at the glowing lines on his chest. A strange feeling filled him, not fear, but something deeper, like a quiet fire starting in his heart. He nodded. Then show me. I don't want to run. Later that night, Ravi stood in a training circle with Nira. He wore the armor chest piece. Now joined by metal gloves and shoulder plates, he moved. Slowly, trying to copy Nira's movements, she smiled. You're not bad. I feel heavy, he said. Like I'm walking through water. The armor is learning you too, she replied. It needs time to become part of your body. He took a deep breath and tried again. This time, the armor moved more smoothly. Suddenly, he heard a sound behind him. He turned quickly and the armor reacted. A golden shield formed on his arm, stopping a blast from a training drone. Ho! Ravi said. Nira clapped. It listens to your fear. When you feel danger, it protects you. I didn't even think, Ravi said, amazed. That's good, Nira said, because when the Drakari come, you won't have time to think. You need to move fast. Ravi looked up at the stars above. He knew his old life was over. No more tools and broken machines. No more quiet nights alone. Now, he was part of something much older, something ancient and powerful. And somewhere in the darkness, enemies were already on their way. The sky above Arena was filled with stars. They looked peaceful, but inside the temple walls, no one felt peace. Ravi sat in a quiet room with Nira beside him. A soft blue light came from a crystal hanging in the air. The armor on Ravi's chest still glowed, but now it was calm. You said my ancestors fought with the Orin, Ravi said. But why did no one on Earth remember this? Nira looked thoughtful. Time changes many things. Old stories are lost. Wars erase truth. Maybe your people forgot. Maybe someone made them forget. Ravi leaned back. I don't even know who I am anymore. Nira smiled gently. You're still Ravi, but now you're also something more. Just then, Elder Turek entered. With him was a short Orin woman with a round face and bright blue eyes. She held a tall wooden staff. This is Sila, Turek said. She is the keeper of the Deep Library. Ravi stood up. The Deep Library? Sila nodded. It holds the oldest memories of our world. Books, maps, carvings, dreams, even voices from the past. If there is any truth about the armor in your blood, it will be there. Ravi looked at Nira. She nodded. Let's go. Inside the Deep Library was hidden deep under the temple, far below the ground. Stone stairs led them down into a large hall filled with glowing shelves, floating books. Metal tablets and crystal screens were everywhere. Soft music played in the air. Like wind chimes in a forest, Sila led them to a corner where a black stone table stood. On it was a small cube made of silver glass. This is called the Star Memory, she said. It stores the records of the first flame. Ravi reached out. The moment his fingers touched it, the cube glowed and rose into the air. A beam of light shot upward, showing a tall woman in golden armor. That's her, Ravi whispered. Queen Amara. The image moved, showing Queen Amara fighting in space, leading both Orin and human soldiers against huge black ships. Her voice echoed in the room. The flame is not a weapon, it is a promise. As long as one heart burns with hope, we are not finished. The image faded, replaced by a spinning symbol, half sun, half star. It glowed for a moment, then stopped. Sila looked at Ravi. You have her mark. The armor knows your blood. Ravi sat down slowly. But I never knew. My family were just workers. My father repaired satellites. My mother made water filters. No one ever talked about old wars. Torque stepped forward. You may be the last piece of a story we forgot. When the first flame fell, the Drakari hunted all connected to it. Some humans escaped. They may have changed names, hid their past, Ravi thought deeply. So, my family might have been hiding for generations, and I just happened to wake it all up. Nira touched his shoulder. Maybe it wasn't by chance. Maybe the armor waited for the right moment, the right heart. Suddenly, a loud chime rang through the library. A voice came from the wall. Alert! Enemy signal detected. Drakari scout ship entering arena's orbit. Torque's eyes narrowed. They have come faster than expected. Sila turned off the cube. You must leave now. They will come for the armor. And for you? Ravi stood. Then let me fight. Torque shook his head. You are not ready. Ravi's eyes burned with new fire. Then help me get ready. Later that day, Temple Grounds. Ravi stood in an open training field. His armor had now covered more of his body's shoulders, arms, and part of his legs. It moved smoother with each step. Nira stood across from him with 2 wooden staffs in her hands. Defense first, she said. Let's see how you block. She swung the staff at him. Ravi raised his arm, and the armor formed a glowing shield again. Sparks flew. He smiled. Nice, she said. Again. They trained for hours. Nira moved fast, teaching him how to shift his weight, protect his side, and respond without thinking. The armor began reacting quicker, shaping into new forms, a blade on his hand, a shield on his back, even glowing boots that helped him jump higher. Later, they sat under a tree. Ravi drank from a silver flask. You're learning fast, Nira said. I'm trying, he said, breathing hard. This thing listens better than I thought. She looked up at the stars. Tomorrow, the council will decide if you should lead the defense. Ravi looked at her. Me, a leader? She nodded. You were the flame. That means something. Ravi stayed quiet for a moment. Do you believe in me? Nira smiled. I do. Far away, in the dark corner of space, a large Drakari ship floated like a ghost. Its hull was black and full of scars. Inside, a tall figure stood before a glowing screen. His face was hidden under a metal mask, and his eyes burned red. The flame has awakened, he said in a deep voice. Prepare the soldiers. We will crush the old light once and for all. Behind him, machines roared to life. War was coming again. Back on Arena, Ravi looked up at the stars. I don't know if I'm ready, he said. Nira stood beside him. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to stand. And slowly, the armor began to glow brighter. The flame was rising once more. Dark clouds gathered over Arena's skies, even though there was no storm. The people of the city felt something heavy in the air. The birds flew low. The trees stood still. Deep below the temple, in the control room, a red light blinked. Enemy. Ship confirmed, the guard said. Drakari class, not just a scout. This one is ready for war. The council gathered in the high chamber. Ravi stood in the center, dressed in his armor. It now covered his full body, shining softly with golden and red lines. The armor moved with him like it was part of his own skin. They are not waiting, said Elder Toruk. They'd send a real warship. They want the armor back in the dark. Nira stood beside Ravi. Her face was calm, but her hands were tight. She knew what this meant. They're afraid, she said. Afraid the flame has returned. The oldest elder, Lady Vera, looked at Ravi. You carry the hope of our past. But this is not a test anymore. If you fight now, it will be real. Blood may be spilled. Are you ready for that? Ravi swallowed. I don't want war. But I won't run. If they come for me, I'll stand. The room was silent for a moment. Toruk spoke. Then we prepare for battle. That night, and the city news spread fast. The Drakari were near. Fear filled the hearts of the people. Families packed bags. Shops closed early. Lights were dimmed. But a group of young Orcs stood in the square, with tools and wires. They were not soldiers, they were builders, farmers, and teachers. Yet they came to help. We believe in the flame, one said. We will protect our home, said another. Ravi walked past them, his heart full. These were not warriors, but they had courage. And that was more powerful than weapons. At the edge of the Planeth Drakari ship hovered above the mountains, black and wide like a shadow with wings. Its body was covered in thick armor, and red lights blinked from its eyes. Inside, the Drakari general, Sarnak, watched a screen showing Ravi's image. "So this is the human the armor chose," Sarnak said. "A weak creature of flesh. Let us remind the galaxy what true power looks like." Soldiers in dark suits prepared to land. Their weapons were sharp and loud. Machines rolled into place. A cold voice echoed through the ship. "Begin the strike." Back on Arena, the first attack at dawn. The first blast hit the mountain wall near the city. Rocks flew, and alarms rang through the temple halls. Drones flew into the sky. Shining blue lights, scanning for enemies, Ravi stood at the front gate with Nira and a small team. Some were guards, some were simple volunteers. All looked nervous. But ready. Nira handed Ravi a small stone. "This was my grandmother's. She carried it during the Great Fire Battle. It gave her strength. Maybe it will do the same for you." Ravi closed his fingers around it. "Thank you." Above them, small ships dropped black figures. Drakari. "Soldiers, here they come," shouted a guard. Ravi stepped forward. The armor glowed brighter, forming a golden shield on his left arm and a blade on his right. He raised his voice, loud and clear, "Stand with me, for Arena, for the light." The ground shook as the first wave landed. The fight begins. The Drakari soldiers moved fast. Their weapons fired red blasts that burned through walls. But Ravi moved faster. The armor seemed to know where to go, where to strike. He blocked a blast with his shield, rolled forward, and knocked a soldier down. His blade turned into a spear, and he threw it into the air, hitting another enemy ship and making it spin away. Nira fought beside him, using two long sticks with glowing tips. She moved like a dancer, fast, sharp, brave. The Oran defenders began to push back. With every minute, Ravi fought harder, and the armor responded better. It wasn't just metal. It was memory. It was strength. It was fire. Suddenly, a loud roar came from above. The enemy leader, General Sarnak, landed in the city square. He was tall, covered in black armor, and his eyes glowed red. "So, little flame," he said, "you were her armor. But you are not her." Ravi stood tall. "I don't need to be her. I'm me." Sarnak laughed. "Then you will fall even faster." The two rushed at each other. Ravi versus Sarnak. Their battle shook the square. Sword clashed with claws. Fire met darkness. Sarnak was strong, very strong. He had fought many wars. But Ravi was different. The armor gave him speed, power, and something else. Memory. Each time Sarnak hit him, the armor glowed brighter. Each time Ravi fell, he got back up faster. "You cannot win," Sarnak shouted. "I don't need to win alone," Ravi replied. Behind him, Nira threw a bright orb that exploded in a flash of light. Sarnak turned for a second. Dan Ravi struck. With one loud cry, he sent a blast of pure light from his chest. It hit Sarnak directly and threw him back across the square. Sarnak growled and stood. "This is not the end, human." He pressed a button, and a black ship came down to pick him up. The remaining Drakari soldiers retreated. The sky cleared. The city was safe for now. After the battle, people cheered. Ravi stood on the temple steps, tired but proud. The armor was quiet again, but warm, like it was proud to. Nira stood beside him, smiling. "You did it. We did it," he said. Elder Torque came forward. "This was just the first wave. But you have shown us the flame still burns." Ravi looked up at the stars. "They'll be back, yes," Torque said. "But so will we. And now, they know we are not afraid." Days passed since the battle. The city of Arena was slowly returning to peace. But everyone knew it wouldn't last. The Drakari had left, but their words still echoed in the air. War was not over. It had only just begun. Ravi stood on the edge of the temple wall, watching the horizon. The wind was cool, and the twin moons hung low in the sky. His armor was now part of him, waking and sleeping with his heartbeat. "You didn't rest," Nira said. walking up behind him. I couldn't. Ravi replied. I keep thinking about Sarnak. He didn't come to win. He came to test me. Nira nodded. He saw your strength. Now he's planning something bigger. Ravi turned to her. We need to be ready. We can't wait for another attack. Just then, a messenger rushed into the temple courtyard. Ravi, Lady Vera wants to see you at once. The council's warning inside the council chamber. Elder Torek and Lady Vera stood beside a large map. Tiny lights blinked across it, showing the outer parts of Arena. We found something, Vera said. An old signal from the deep vault. The deep vault? Ravi asked. It's a hidden chamber under the mountain, Torek said. It holds ancient machines, some too powerful, some too dangerous. Vera looked serious. The signal was not sent by us. Someone broke into the vault. Who? Nira asked. We're not sure yet, Torek said. But the guards were put to sleep. No one was killed. But the control door was forced open. The only thing missing was a key crystal, one that once belonged to Queen Amara. Ravi's eyes narrowed. You think the Drakari did this? Vera shook her head. It was someone inside our own walls. A noble secret. Later that evening, Nira and Ravi returned to the armor hall to think. As they walked through the long corridors, they saw a figure slipping away from a sealed chamber. Stop! Nira called out. The figure ran. Ravi dashed after him, his armor lighting up with speed. He moved like lightning, catching the person. Near the west gate, the cloak fell away. It was Lord Varen, a noble from the city, and a high advisor to the council. You? Ravi asked, shocked. Why would you betray your own people? Varen's eyes were cold. You don't belong here. Human. That armor was made for gods, not for someone like you. You stole the queen's crystal. Ravi said. Why? To bring balance, Varen growled. The flame is power, and power should not rest in the hands of a stranger. You gave it to the Drakari, Nira said. Didn't you? Varen smirked. They offered peace. I accepted it. Ravi's fists tightened. Peace through lies. Varen stepped back and pressed a button. A flash of light blinded them, and he escaped through a secret tunnel. Preparing for the worst, council was in shock. One of their own had betrayed them, and now the queen's crystalline ancient energy source was in enemy hands. Ravi stood in the war room with Nira and the other leaders. We can't trust anyone now, Torek said. We must prepare for a full attack, said another elder. Nira turned to Ravi. If they use that crystal, they can unlock weapons even we don't understand. Ravi nodded. Then I have to stop them before they do. You can't go alone, Nira said. I won't, Ravi replied. I'll take a small team. Fast, quiet. We'll track Varen. We'll stop the Drakari before they use the crystal. The hidden Labravi, Nira, and 3 trusted guards followed Varen's trail across the desert. After a day's journey, they found a hidden lab built into a mountain. The doors were sealed, but the armor responded to Ravi's touch. The doors opened. With a loud hiss. Inside, the air was cold. Machines stood in silence, screens flickered, and in the center of the lab was a strange table glowing with red light. The queen's crystal was inside it, feeding power to something large and dark. A new kind of weapon. Nira's eyes widened. It's a war suit, built with stolen tech. That's not Orin. That's Drakari design. Varen's helping them build a new kind of soldier, one of the guards said. Just then, alarms rang out. Drones flew down from the ceiling. It's a trap, Ravi shouted. They fought through the lab. Ravi moved fast, cutting through enemy drones, blocking blasts, and protecting his team. Nira used her twin staffs, spinning and striking like a storm. They reached the power core. Ravi grabbed the queen's crystal. The moment he pulled it free, the entire lab started to shake. Let's go, Nira shouted. They escaped just in time as the lab exploded behind them. The desert lit up with fire. Returning with fire when Ravi returned to the city, he placed the queen's crystal back in its place in the temple. The armor glowed gold and brighter than ever before. A new piece formed around his back, glowing wings of energy. Not for flying, but for power and balance, the people of Arena gathered in the square. They had heard of the betrayal and of the mission's success. Elder Torek raised his voice. The flame has returned. and the one who carries it is not only brave but just. Ravi stood before the people, tired but standing tall. I'm not a hero, he said. I am only a man who chose to stand when others ran, and I will keep standing for Arena, for Earth, for all who still believe in light. The crowd cheered. But in the dark corners of the galaxy, General Sarnak watched the fire rise again. This time, he whispered, we destroy the heart. The city of Arena was quiet before dawn. The sky above held stars that shimmered like ice. But underneath that peace, hearts were filled with tension. Everyone knew it was coming, the final battle. Ravi stood inside the Temple of Flame, dressed in the ancient armor. It was no longer just metal and energy. It had become something more alive. Connected to him, it pulsed with quiet power. Nira stepped beside him. Her eyes looked tired, but brave. You're not alone, she said softly. I know, Ravi replied, giving her a small smile. But the Drakari won't stop. Sarnak is coming, and this time, he brings war. Nira nodded. Then we'll face it together. The air of Alth morning sky darkened as black ships appeared over the mountains. They moved like shadows, covering the sun. The Drakari fleet had come from the lead ship. General Sarnak watched the city below. Behind him stood Var-En, the traitor noble. You failed to destroy the armor, Sarnak said coldly. Var-En lowered his head. But I helped you reach the Queen's crystal. Sarnak didn't reply. He turned to his army of biosoldiers creatures, shaped with both metal and flesh, powered by stolen energy. They were stronger than machines and more loyal than men. Today, Sarnak growled, Arena will burn. The defense of Ornaith people of Arena stood ready. Warriors lined the walls. Energy cannons hummed. Children and elders were taken deep underground to stay safe. Everyone else prepared to fight. Elder Torque raised his hand. We fight not for land. We fight for truth, for hope. Ravi stepped forward. The golden wings on his back shimmered. Like fire. I may be from Earth, he said loudly, but this is my home now, and I won't let it fall. The people cheered. Hope rose again. Then the sky screamed. The Drakari began their attack. Battle above the city there exploded with light and fire. Drakari ships fired beams from above, while biosoldiers dropped down into the streets. Ravi flew up, carried by the armor's energy. He clashed with the enemy midair, breaking their wings and cutting through their shields. His mind was calm. His body moved with purpose. Nira fought on the ground, leading her squad with focus and speed. Every step, every strike was perfect. She defended the gate, not letting even one enemy pass. But the Drakari were many. For every one they stopped, more came. Then, a terrible sound echoed across the land. A giant ship, shaped like a beast, landed near the city wall. Its body opened, revealing a massive figure. Sarnak. He walked forward, glowing with stolen power. His armor now held the energy of the Queen's crystal, dark and angry. Come, warrior of Earth. Sarnak shouted. Face me. Ravi versus Sarnak. Ravi landed in front of him. Dust rose between them. You shouldn't have come back, Ravi said, and you should have stayed weak. Sarnak answered. They clashed. The ground shook. Their blades met with thunder. Sarnak's strength was great, but Ravi's spirit was stronger. The armor around him responded to every movement, protecting him, guiding him. They fought through streets, across walls, even above the city, locked in combat like two stars crashing. But slowly, Ravi began to tire. Sarnak struck him hard. Ravi fell to one knee. You are nothing but a man, Sarnak roared. Ravi looked up, blood on his lip, a fire in his eyes. I may be just a man, but I stand for more than you ever will. The flame awakens fully suddenly. The Queen's crystal in Sarnak's chest pulsed with light, but not dark light, golden light. The armor on Ravi's body responded. The flame inside him rose, burning away the pain. Something ancient awakened. Inside the armor, memories, voices, echoes of warriors from long ago. They whispered, Rise. Guardian of the flame, Ravi stood. His armor changed again, brighter, larger, stronger. The wings opened wide. His sword burned like the sun. Sarnak stepped back. "What is this?" Ravi spoke calmly. "This is the real power of the flame. Not rage. Not hate, but hope." With one strike, Ravi shattered Sarnak's blade. With the next, he broke the dark armor. The crystal fell, powerless. Sarnak collapsed. The enemy, seeing their leader fall, lost heart. They fled. The sky began to clear. Victory and peace of battle was over. Arena stood proud and free. The people gathered in the square. They cheered Ravi's name. Flowers were thrown from windows. Children sang. But Ravi walked quietly to the temple. He placed the armor back on the sacred stand. "You're leaving it?" Nira asked gently. Ravi smiled. "The flame doesn't belong to me. It belongs to everyone who protects peace." She nodded. "You've changed everything. You helped." "Me?" Ravi replied. "This was never just my fight." Elder Torque stepped forward. "You came from Earth, but your heart is Arena." Ravi bowed his head. A new beginning. Weeks passed. Arena began to rebuild. Trade resumed. The skies were clear. The city gates were open to all. Ravi now helped train young warriors. Nira stood beside him as commander. Peace had returned, but the people stayed strong. The armor remained in the temple, quiet, waiting for the next time it would be needed. One evening, Ravi stood on the balcony, looking at the stars. Nira joined him. "Do you miss Earth?" she asked. "Sometimes," Ravi said. "But now, this is home." Above them, the stars blinked like fireflies. Somewhere out there, danger still waited. But for now, the flame was alive and it burned. In the heart of a human who proved that courage, not blood, makes a warrior.